We got this story from Newsweek. California insurer canceled policies months before Los Angeles wildfires. This is weird. Politico reports LA fires could break California's insurance market. So how is it that 4 months ago and up to a few weeks ago, there's an insurer, there's a couple of them, I think a bunch of them actually, in Malibu and Palisades in Los Angeles that abruptly canceled fire insurance. There's a video of a woman at a house. Fox News interviews her, and she's like, 2 weeks ago, they canceled fire insurance, and now here we are. What did these insurance companies know, and when did they know it?
They probably knew what we've all known for 15 years, which is California's a tinderbox. And
mismanaged.
Maybe they knew something, though, particular about this year. But I know, like, what was it, 2018, I think.
If I ever heard...
Well, no, go ahead.
Or, yeah, I mean, if I ever heard that there's a possibility of even fire hydrants not getting water if a fire were to break out, I mean, I'd probably uninsure the people as well.
But, like, at some point...
But so what I heard, I heard that there's a law...
It's understaffed, too.
There was a law saying that the insurers could not raise premiums by a certain amount. And so the insurance company said, okay, then we can't cover the cost of insurance. Canceled.
That's wild, because like if the flood insurers of Florida or the hurricane, the people that insure like for flooding, and I know that's a big hot point too. Like there's a lot of companies that just won't insure for flood damage in Florida because of the hurricanes. But if they were to pull out right before hurricane season, that's why we have government to prevent private companies from these just pulling it over on people.
The reason that the companies ended all the insurance or whatever, they canceled the insurance policies is because they did an assessment of the situation. Insurance companies aren't in the business of losing money, right? And if they look at the situation, they see that the government is not managing the area properly, and there's like a likelihood that there's going to be a fire, and there's a likelihood that it's going to cause massive damage, and a fire like this, ostensibly in that area, could put an entire insurance company out of business, right? Like you're talking billions and billions of dollars in damage. Right? It could totally put an insurance company out of business. So they canceled those policies, not because they're like some evil insurance company like the left thinks, but they looked at the situation and they said the state is not handling their job. They're not taking care of the forest areas or the brush, and so this is too great of a risk. The same reason they cancel those is the same reason that there are people that get into 5, 6, 7 accidents with a boatload of speeding tickets that can't get car insurance because you're just too much of a risk. You know, that's the long and short of it. They look at the situation and they say, we can't take this risk on because if there were a fire, like what's going on now, it could literally put our entire company out of business because of the paying out of all of these policies. So they canceled the policies because they couldn't handle the risk, which is completely normal when it comes to how insurance works.
Serge just sent me a list from Twitter of fires in California, one of the big ones, and this is, we got one 2020, 2018, 2017, 2016, but then before that it was 2009. So it was in 2016 you started seeing them every year for a while. There's probably some big degradation going on. And then 2009, 2008, 2007, back all the way to 03 and so on, 93, 91. So, I mean, maybe there's been a string of fires in the last 7 years, although I guess 21, 22, and 23 we looked pretty clear.
So according to Newsweek, they say State Farm, one of the biggest insurers in California, canceled hundreds of homeowners' policies last summer in the Pacific Palisades, the same area ravaged by the wildfire. The move was justified by the company as an attempt to avoid financial failure, as the frequency and severity of wildfires is growing in the Golden State, especially in at-risk zones. But as multiple fires currently are burning through Southern California, causing devastation, many will likely need to rely on their insurers, yada, yada. We get the point. I wonder, do you think it's possible that the mismanagement is intentional so that they can justify their climate change policies?
Damn.
Oh, would you put it past communists?
You'd hope not.
To be like, let's do everything we can so that there's wildfires, we can then claim it's climate change and it's Trump's fault.
I mean, how could you claim climate change too in California where they literally try everything they can to protect climate change and
because they're dumb enough to believe it.
I mean, you have a point.
The idea of intentionally destroying an area to recoup it is not far off. I don't know. I feel like they're doing that in Ukraine. They're just decimating it to rubble so that BlackRock can rebuild it and own a portion of it or something.
I don't know that I think that they're doing it in order to blame climate change because they have ample excuses for climate change. You know, everything, whether it be there's an entire season of hurricanes that they blame on climate change. Every year there's these fires. I don't think they need to have a more dramatic, a more dramatic catastrophe so that way they can blame climate change. I think they'll blame climate change no matter what. And
it'll rain and they'll claim it's climate change.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what happens. They're going to blame climate change.
Remember when there was a storm in D.C. and the storm sirens went off and AOC was like, "This is climate change."
It was a tornado.
Like, dude, there's a tornado. Like the funny thing is there are storm sirens because tornadoes do happen in the area, and she was like, "This is climate change." No, we installed the storm sirens because this is common actually.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen all the time, but it's like we know it happens.
I mean, dude, there was a tornado in New England maybe like 10 years ago, and which is, you think New England because it's all hills and stuff. You'd think that they wouldn't happen at all, but there was. They can happen just about anywhere. But it's still, I don't think that they need an excuse. They're just going to blame climate change. And like I said earlier, look, if you really are concerned with climate change and you really think it's something that's going to destroy the earth and the seas are going to boil away, then you should be lobbying for us to invade China and invade India and take them over and institute actual policies that will stop their burning of coal and dung and all of the
That's what I find the stupidest thing about climate change is we have these other countries, other places where literally their populations are 3 times as large. And if you watch the videos, it's like there's like no controls on what they're doing, like all these buses, everything, like they're emitting all these things.
I'm kind of happy we live the way we do. Because these countries, if you look at the videos out of China where it's just smog everywhere.
Oh, I'm extremely happy we live in America.
And so we're looking at these countries. For once, I'd love to see Greta Thunberg say, "How dare you?" to China. Just one time. You know what I mean? How dare you? Instead, she goes to Europe and she's like, "You got rid of plastic straws and you're all drinking out of chemical paper. How dare you?" And we're like, China is the one that's dumping everything in the water, dude. Yeah. Come on.
Southeast Asia is where all of the plastic that is in the Pacific Ocean, all of it comes from Southeast Asia. It's all coming from China and the islands and stuff like that.
Is that like an actual...
yeah. If there, I have a picture that I'll...
Huge majority comes out of Asia.
There's a third, there's more people that live in a circle over Southeast Asia that includes China and India. There's more human beings that live inside that circle than live outside of it. And I have a picture. I'll find the picture.
I sort of feel like complaining about climate change is complaining about how poop stinks. Like, okay, we all get it. It stinks. People are gonna poop. You can't make them stop. People are going to create waste. You can't make them stop. People are going to burn wood. Can't make them stop. They're going to burn coal. They're going to burn gas and oil. Can't stop them. Unless, like Phil said, you want to militarily invade and stand there on the corner with rifles and say you can't do it. No, they're going to do it. So we need to figure out how to reuse the stuff, waste product, not stop making the stuff or complain about it.
Here's what I want Trump to do. He's going to set up something called the Review. And in every city, there will be a building where you are required by appointment to show up. And then they just ask you a simple question like, what are your thoughts on climate change? And then they're going to say, oh, I think it's bad. And it's like, do you think that we should ban the use or restrict the use of oil? Yes. Okay, boys. And then a bunch of guys come in, strip them of all of their petroleum-based clothing, take away the keys to their car, seize their vehicle, go to their house, strip it down, and can live in a mud hut. I'm joking. The point is, all of these well-to-do liberal types that are like, but climate change. There's a hilarious video where you've got these, what are those protesters where they block the streets, whatever.
I keep seeing those.
Palestine protesters?
No. The energy ones.
The climate.
Yeah.
Oh.
Extinction Rebellion?
Yeah.
The orange.
And there's a guy, and he's like, you're wearing a jacket made from petrochemicals. Like, it's a petroleum-based plastic jacket with plastic synthetic filling. Like, literally all of you are doused in oil. And you're sitting here complaining about it. It is the most ridiculous, stupid stuff. I tell you this. If you want to complain about oil, we start with you. Okay? No more oil? Fine. First thing is, if you want to complain about oil, you're allowed to. That was always allowed. If you actually want to implement policy and make us change, you have to abandon all oil products first.
If you want to check out, I put up the
tweet it out.
Well, I put it in the Slack, in the Timcast
cool.
IRL Slack.
I just don't like how they make, like, I remember in school they were telling us, like, oh, by 2030, New York City will be underwater. And it's like, I go to New York City, and it still looks just fine. So it's like
the Maldives.
And I'm also like, I also think like things are just gonna happen. Like you can't stop all forest fires. Like
Well,
it's inevitable that they're gonna happen. It's like a process of
how old are you?
22.
22. So when you said when you were in school, how long ago was it?
I remember
45 minutes.
no, I remember like elementary school, and they're telling you like by 2030 or whatnot. Like,
Right, I know, but that's
so
still
it's
like what, 10 years
15
ago?
Yeah. So
Bro, 25 years ago.
were they telling you guys
I'm
this stuff as
38.
well? Were they
Yes.
Yes.
Dude,
it's like nothing's
I'm
changed.
going to be 50 this year.
And they were telling you that too?
They were telling me by the time 2000 came around, when I was in grade school, or when I was in before like 89, 88, when I just got into high school, if we don't fix climate change, if we don't fix global warming, it was back then, all the snow caps are going to be gone. There's a movie called An Inconvenient Truth that Al Gore, former vice president, made, and it came out in 2006, and he was swearing up and down that by 2020, 5 years ago, swearing up and down by 2020, the ice caps were going to be gone and the seas were going to rise. A massive problem with people my age listening to this garbage is we've been hearing the same garbage for literally 25 years, like Tim said, 30 years. So it's like, you're full of crap. Mm-hmm. The evidence is that none of the stuff that you've been saying for 30 years has come to fruition at all. So why am I going to listen to you now?
Yeah, they give you models, but they don't take into account mitigating circumstances a lot of times. Like things will change, technologies will be invented that will redirect the path that you're looking at in 30 years from now. So don't panic. That's the biggest thing is don't panic. Don't create alarmism. Maybe you want to ring the alarm, but like do it with a purpose, with like a solution.
But they should be saying, it's up to you to solve for this problem. Good luck. Instead of saying the end is nigh, sorry, bye.
Yeah,
they should be saying, here's a problem we're facing, but we believe in you. And if you guys work hard enough, we will find a way through this.
I think we can find symbiosis with the climate, but it does take a global effort. Like if the Chinese and the Indians are going to burn untold amounts of methane and carbon, then what? We can't.
They burn dung. A lot of people in India still burn dung because India is still like basically a third world country. Like there are parts of India that are modern.
Sorry, do you mean like cow dung?
Yeah. Well, I'm actually
Probably
not sure
human
if it's, I'm
feces.
not
I
sure if
wouldn't be
it's cow
surprised.
because they look at cow as sacred. So it might not be cow.
But the poop, I don't think.
I don't know. I don't want to offend.
And they use a lot of kerosene. A lot of places. Still.
I mean, I don't know. But the point that I'm making is they're when they're burning waste like that, that's because the options they have are very limited. So like you've got burning, they're burning wood, burning dung, burning, some places are burning coal and stuff. And like I said,
plastic.
There's
probably.
1.5 billion in India. Maybe 500 million of them live in modern cities and stuff like that. That means there's 1 billion people that are still in the tribal areas, that are living in the rural areas, that don't have reliable indoor plumbing, that don't have, they're living like they did 500 years ago. And in China, there are fewer people that are living out in the wilderness like the Indians, but there are still a large portion of China. They're poor people and they live on farms and they got to do what they got to do to heat their homes because China has weather just like everywhere else in the world. So it's not like if you fix America and if you just get everybody to change their lights to LED lights, we're going to solve climate change. Or even if you get everybody to buy electric cars. And I'm not against electric cars. I love mine. I got a Tesla. I think it's the coolest thing in the world. I love it. I got a solar array on my house in New Hampshire. I love it. It's great. I'm not against this stuff. But the idea that you can just flip the switch and say, here, everybody go to this now, that's not happening.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.